Page 4, down in the valley. This is a review of the key of C major. Remember, C major has no sharps or flats. It uses only the white keys on the piano because all the black keys are sharps or flats. I would encourage you to go back and do my video on C major scale. And now that you're in level 2, you should be doing the intermediate level. That's 2 octaves, just do it. They're going to help you out if you just do them. They give the chords up here, the primary chords. Let's go over those because, again, it's going to help you out if you know these chords. Now, there are 2 ways of identifying them. You do it by the chord name. It's like C chord, and do it in both hands. C chord, F chord, G7 chord, and then follow with the C chord. Or you can do it by their Roman numeral names or their step positions. Remember, every note in a scale has a step. It's a step number. C is 1, the name of the scale, whatever it is. And then you just go up the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then your 8 is 1 again. Well, we can identify chords in relation to the key signature by the step number. So the 1 chord is the C chord because the bottom note of that chord is 1. And you're in root position, which means the notes are all 1 note apart. There's a note in between each of them. You see it. Play a note, skip a note, play a note, skip a note, play a note. At a root position. Now when you're in root position, the bottom note identifies the chord. In this case, it's a C chord or a 1 chord. Then the next one is the 4 chord, which is the F chord, but it's not in root position because there's 2 notes here. That tells you right there it's not root position. This is root position of an F chord, but what they've done is they put the C on the bottom. So here in root position, it's a 4 chord. You can see it's a 4 chord in the key of C because you have a 1, 2, 3, 4. Changing this inversion doesn't change the name of the chord. It's still a 4 chord even though it's this way. They use this one because they want to be able to get from here to here without moving the hand out. And this is simple. You just take the 2 notes and move them up. It's 4 chord or F chord. Then the 5-7 chord or G7 chord is here. Based on G, every other note. It's got the 7th added. It's a G chord with the 7th added. And they want the B on the bottom. So just tell us G7 chord. And then they want a triad, 3 notes, so they're going to leave out the D here. Sometimes they leave out the B. But here. And they're using this inversion because, again, when they're in this position, they can get there very easily, but here. They don't want to have to go up here or here. They can just go here. But it's based on the 5th step of the scale because this is chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 4, 5, 7, and 1. Those are the primary chords. They're up there. They have them in block together. They have them in broken, in different patterns. It's all broken. That's what they're talking about. And they're reviewing it because it's important. So don't rush over it. Get it. Now, we're talking about extended position. Have you had extended position? I can't remember what was in book 1 because that was ages ago. Ugh. Normally when you finger a chord, many times it would be 1, 3, 5 fingers. Well, if you want to duplicate the D on or the bottom note on the top, playing an octave, then the other notes in the middle can't be 1, 3, 5. We do either 2, 3 or 2, 4, depending on what the notes are. So look at the second line on page 4. 3rd measure over, they have extended position. We call that an extended position. You take this chord and you extend it out to the octave, so it's this fingering. Very common, and you'll get extended chords all over everywhere. There's a couple there on page 5. You see them. It's this one, and then one in the left hand, the last part of it, a C chord with the C on top is this, and follow that fingering. That's a good fingering for that chord. It's a 4 on the E, not a 3. I question their fingering there in the right hand at the beginning. They want 1, 2. It works if that's what you want, but it's unnecessary. I don't understand that. Why not just a 1, 3? I prefer 1, 3 there in the first measure. And anywhere else that is in this piece, I'm going to finger it 1, 3. You can do 1, 2 if you want to. They have a little bit of pedal at the end of this for the last measure. I'm not going to show it in the video because it's just a little bit of pedal at the end. Hopefully you can do that. If you are confused about that, you need to go back over level 1 book on the pedaling videos and do those again. Now, I am picky, and I'm hoping you're going to learn to be picky eventually if you're not already. I want the little things in the music that make all the difference in the world to the listeners. So let's talk about some things here. Notice the phrasing. Between each phrase, we're going to lift up and put back down so we get a little bit of silence. But the phrasing is only given in the right hand, so there's no silence in the left hand. So the last 2 measures of the first line on page 4 is here. Lift up on the right hand, but not the left. So we get a little bit of silence there. It makes all the difference in the world. It really does. And do that throughout. It's a little confusing in some cases. I got confused, so I'm going to point it out just in case you do too. With the slurs and the ties, because it's the same symbol, it gets... Look on page 4 in the second line. In the right hand at the beginning, those 2 D's are tied together. They've got a curved line, but there's another curved line above them to indicate the phrase, the slur. So you're going to hold the first D down for 2 measures. Well, look at the last measure on page 4. It's got the slur, it's got the phrase mark above it. And then when you look at the top of page 5, it's another G with just a little bit of line coming from the previous page. And I thought that was a tie, so I held it down. I didn't play it again, and that's incorrect. Because it's not a tie, it's a slur. You have to play the note at the top of page 5 again, that G. And I know that because of the words. I need a note for each word or each syllable in the word if I'm going to sing it. And because evening, the second syllable, ning, is there, it's not tied. Now, if it were a word, at the bottom of page 4, that last measure, if the word singing there was a 1-syllable word that you're going to tie out completely, then the G at the top of page 5 would be tied. You wouldn't play it again, you'd hold it down. So the ties and so forth are following the words. When you have one syllable word go through, it's tied. And when you have a 2-syllable word or a different word, it's not tied. Just something to notice in music. Third line down on page 5, you see the crescendo in the third measure? Each note gets a little louder, not a lot, just a little louder. It's the same thing at the bottom of page 4, you see the crescendo, and then the last line on page 5 is a long decrescendo. Where you have this C in the right hand that you're holding down for 4 million measures across there. It just goes crazy. Try and listen to that and see if you can follow that decrescendo going on in the left hand. So as I'm playing the left hand, I'm listening to the right hand. Trying to die away in the left hand according to the right hand dying away. Hard to do, but it's kind of fun to try it. Try it and see what you think. The melody's in the right hand. We want to hear the melody. And that for the fermata at the end, the last one, the dotted half note, I'm going to hold that for 6 counts instead of 3 because that's what I do when I play with a metronome. I just double the value of the note. So let's just go over down in the valley to double check your notes and And I hope the rhythm isn't covering or causing a problem. If it is, you really know to go back through book 1 again. I'm going to go slow. You can speed it up on your own, and you can sing it if you want to. I ain't singing it, but here. I'm going to give us 3 counts. This is in 3/4 time. So, right hand's here. I'm going to do 3 on that one. And left hand's here. I'll give us 3 counts. Let's try it. 1, ready, go. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6,